Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome everyone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري واشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت فلك الحمد على ما قضيت نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. Now, inshallah, we will hear Anne summarizing the last week's discussion. We had two main, very, very interesting, profound subject that we have to be aware of. And inshallah, Anne is going to present us the first part, and I will continue with the second part. The text we prepared here on the screen, you can see it, but at the same time, we would like to hear Anne's presentation of it. Please, Anne.
Hope everyone can hear me okay. Is my voice clear or is it muffled?
Clear.
Okay, mashallah. So we uh co-wrote this summary with a little input from um Brother Ali. So that's why it's in a printed form, in a little bit more complete form because we covered so much last week. So I'll read the summary. The story of Prophet Jonah in the Quran conveys a profound lesson. Everything in existence is an expression of divine mercy. It teaches us that we can only attain a true fulfilling life once we recognize that neither we nor the material world hold any inherent power to guarantee outcomes. Why? Because if we rely on ourselves or on material beings to secure happiness, we mistakenly attribute of the absolute being to what is transient and powerless. The essence of Jonah's story lies in understanding that human beings are created with a longing for eternal and perfect satisfaction. Yet nothing in this ephemeral world can fulfill that need. Everything here is bound by the order of the universe and exists under the absolute will of its creator. The more we depend on material things for contentment, the more we experience the anguish of their impermanence. Our consciousness reminds us that one day we must leave it all behind, facing the inevitability of death. Those who rely solely on themselves cannot truly believe in God, nor in the hereafter, and thus endure the despair of uncertainty and ultimate loss. Salvation lies in realizing that the universe is under the control of an absolute, merciful creator. When we understand this, we approach material goods as sustenance for the body, not as the source of salvation for our human spirit. Our spirit craves something far greater, eternal fulfillment, which only the Creator can provide. This realization transforms our worldview. The physical world becomes a means to recognize the source of existence, the one who created us with an infinite yearning for perfection and satisfaction. The Quran conveys this truth, which is, I'm reading a little bit off the text, which is um, what I believe when we opened last week's class, it opened with the sentence by virtue of the mystery of the Quran. So the mystery of the Quran is that it conveys this truth. When we rely on the Creator, we take care of our bodily needs while knowing that all material things are under His control. He is the one who creates and provides them for our service. Thus, our spirit draws satisfaction not from material things themselves, but from their absolute Creator. This is the path to true salvation. Prophet Jonah's prayer encapsulates this realization: there is no God but you. Glory be to you. Truly, I was among the wrongdoers. Here, Jonah acknowledges his misinterpretation of existence and his dependence on transient means. In summary, consider the act of eating a banana. The body enjoys the physical nourishment it provides, while the spirit finds joy in contemplating the creator of the banana. Through the banana's existence, the creator manifests his qualities: mercy, provision, and power. This dual perspective brings full satisfaction, both bodily and spiritually, and aligns with the purpose of our creation. This is what the Quran teaches us: to recognize the virtue and mystery of its divine message. Brother Ali, would you like to read the next part?
But first, we would like to hear, this was the text and very, how I said, as if a formal presentation in an academic conference.
Yes, that's true. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, but at least you yourself or someone else in the room or our beloved friends are here. So we would like to hear what they gathered from this summary of the story of Jonah in the Quran. So what is the real lesson? Anyone who would like to summarize it? Qasim?
I don't know if this is going to be a full summary, but one of the points that I understood from this was that don't just don't just behave or exist with your body, but also exist with your consciousness.
Mhm.
Um, so essentially a takeaway is that when you're dealing with things or interacting with things, don't just interact with them, um, at a bodily level, but interact with them at a spiritual level.
Hmm. Don't reduce the existence to material outward appearance of it or material elements in it.
Yeah.
So all the qualities manifested on them, take notes of them and say that these are not la subhanaka la no la ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. So you, the creator of everything, is pure and perfect in your creation, and in your actions are all perfect. But I was the one who reduced existence to its material elements and connected it as far as my bodily needs are concerned. So not my, I didn't take notice of the spiritual needs. So what my spirit needs. So it was my mistake. I realized it. As soon as he realized it, he was saved. Thank you, Asim. Any more from uh, anyone else? Uh, Anne, would you add something as your personal conclusion or takeaway from the text?
Well, I think we have to be constantly reminded about this sentence in the second paragraph
Hmm.
about the more we depend on material things for contentment, the more we experience the anguish of their impermanence.
Hmm. Oh.
So I think we have to constantly remind ourselves of this.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, we can consciously um, run it through our minds, and then we kind of go about our daily business and then kind of forget it. Um, so I think it's important. I think it's an important takeaway. We have to constantly remind ourselves about the impermanence of of the materials that make us um, that make our for our bodily comfort. Um, so we need to combine the uh, gratitude for the bodily comfort along with the spiritual comfort that comes with it comes with that. In other words, to always be grateful.
Yeah, because the source is eternal. So our gratefulness, the feeling of grateful, must be also referred to or attached to the eternal source, inshallah. And we should be aware of it. Colin Turner, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I wasn't here last week, but Anne has very nicely sort of put everything together. I'm conscious that at the beginning of this treatise, the first flash, the author says that well, at the time he was writing, that we are now in a position 100 times worse than that of Yunus, of Jonah, and that was 100 years ago. So I would say that we're in an even worse position now because there is a consensus reality, which is not real reality. It's a consensus reality. And the consensus reality that we live in actually constantly indoctrinates us. You know, our secular education systems, even the so-called Islamic schools, they all run on secular curricula. And I mean, these three darknesses that the author talks of, these are actually seen as default setting because we live in a materialistic, naturalistic, atheistic universe with just a very sort of thin facade of religiosity among all the three institutionalized religions. The real religions that are circulating are the religions of materialism. Everything is matter in motion. Everything is purposeless. Everything is meaningless, and so therefore our position is far more daunting and far more perilous than that of Yunus alayhi salam. So Yunus, every one of us is Yunus actually,
Yeah.
or has the ability uh, to be Yunus. Sorry, it says it's going to stop me talking in a few seconds, so I'll cut it there.
No, thank you. Thank you. Everyone is Yunus. Actually, the way the Quran speaks is interesting. We have to always remind ourselves when we refer to the Quran or when we read the Quran, we should be aware that we are reading the speech of the creator of this universe and, of course, creating me, and in order to guide me. This is a very crucial principle, although we keep talking about it, but still we should remind us again and again. When we read the Quran speaks at our level to teach us. Quran speaks, the second principle, from our perspective, again, to teach us, to educate us. Of course, a qualified, very highly qualified person speaks to a, let's say, a middle school student or in a class teaching. He's not going to perform all his qualities and speak with full quality, but speak according to their level. That is very the essence of teaching. So, although the teacher addresses to the class, middle school class, although he is a professor of or a very highly qualified person. Now, although he speaks with his quality as he is, but really comes down to the level of the audience so that he gives examples from their world, their perspective, so that they will really see it, relate the examples to themselves, to understand and grasp the message or the knowledge within their quality according to their living conditions. Unfortunately, thousands of times, the Quran is not read in this way, has not been read by majority of the people who studied it in the past. Not because they were not aware of it. They didn't think the importance of it because there was no criticism, no rejection. Whatever the audience was told, they were ready to accept it. And they were, as far as their belief, as far as their ethical life is concerned, they were already practicing Islam as much as they could with good intention, and there were no problems and questions at all. Full submission was really prevalent in the societies that the scholars were addressing to them. But nowadays, lately, last 2 centuries, everything turned upside down. The people started reading the Quran under the influence of, as our friend Colin said, secular understanding of the word, interpretation of the word. Spiritual side, meaningful side of the universe is, or the beings are rejected, turned everything into the material aspect of it. And even human beings are studied according to their or within the capacity of their body. Even psychology studies a human behavior. I mean, it is amazing and unbelievable how crazy it is, depending on human bodily structure. The brain is working this way, memories are affecting in this way, well, and affecting our behaviors, and what we hear from around are all this information we hear from our parents, from our family culture, from our society are affecting us. That is so strange, reducing human beings to meat, bone, blood, and denying human freedom to choose, human intellect to produce new knowledge, improve human qualities by communicating with the rest of the universe. This is neglected because spirit is now given under the control of the bodily organs, elements of the body, and ignored that the human beings have an individual, unique characters or have unique characters. This is rejected, ignored, and left aside because they don't explain. They cannot explain. Secular science cannot explain the existence of human feelings, human capacity. It means spirit. We call it spirit. What makes me human beings is spirit. They ignore it. So everything is now turned into doubt about religion, about the message of God, and about the messengers that are employed to convey this message and represent this message to us in their life, in their practical life. This is ignored. Though as a result, we have to read the Quran according to the requirements, the needs of this century. Quran gives an example of, as we are reading, for example, Jonah. Jonah is mentioned as the prophet. Okay, leave it some times ago. Okay, where, how, what he did, no historical event. And Jonah is not given who he is, in which society he was sent, and what was the historical events happened in that time. Nothing at all. Just as we read it, as far as our needs are concerned, summarized it to educate me. As Colin said, everyone is a Jonah, because we are listening to the speaker, teacher, and giving the example, the teacher giving the example of Jonah, speaking to me at my level, from my perspective. He uses the language so that I will really understand what the teacher is teaching me, so that I will learn from it. Because Jonah here presented to me in order to uh, uh, analyze myself. Am I doing the same thing? So giving me the opportunity to relate it to myself. If I say the teacher is giving an historical narration to me, what shall I do with it? There is no evidence. I don't know what happened. But the teacher is giving a real example because it is experienced by a person. But of course, teaching is mostly symbolic. We discussed about it a lot. Now, coming to this way of reading the Quran, I have to take into account that God speaks from my perspective, uses my language, and at my capacity. And I have to read the Quran not within the capacity of the teacher as the great teacher, but came down to the middle school, just teach us. Because we need this information, we need this knowledge. He came down to our level and spoke to me according to my capacity. So I will try to understand the teaching within my capacity from my perspective, from my perspective, rather than saying, teacher said there was a man like an elementary school student uh, may go home after reading this story, may tell her his or her father, mother, now mother, our teacher told us that there was a man, Jonah, who did this and this and this. And of course, the mother loves it. Yeah. And the mother says, okay, I think teacher tried to tell you something, not the story. Teacher is a very, very wise man. Try to teach you something. He tried to teach you something. And gives and explains this is what the commentaries are expected to do. Look, you have to relate yourself to Jonah's position and let the story resonate within your existence, within your being. So if you were now, the mother is speaking to the child, if you were Jonah in the belly of the fish, what do you think you would do? No, because you think that I am in this world and I am in the belly of the fish of the universe, and in my particular and personal life, unique life, I am in within the belly of my own caprices. How can I get out of it and save? By acknowledging La ilaha subhanak, La ilaha illa anta subhanak. Hey, my creator, you didn't create my spirit just to be a prisoner within this universe and within my body, material side of this existence of the universe. You didn't create me within this position. That's what I have to understand. Because Jonah said, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka. It means you have to say La ilaha illa anta subhanaka in order to find out your desperate situation. Now, I spoke a lot. I was not expected to speak this much. So, there is another that Anne said, okay, you summarize, you read out this second part of the summary. And I think we came here now.
Okay. So I had a question earlier in the
Yeah.
week in which was clarified, and this is this part.
Mhm.
The connection between the Quran 21, Surah 21, Ayah 88. And so we responded to him and saved him from distress. This is how we save all who have faith. So my question was the connection between that and the sanctuary of Mecca, which we discussed last week, how there's Mecca is a sanctuary, particularly the Kaaba, um, whereby nothing can be harmed. And so my question was the connection between this surah and the sanctuary concept. So this is my concern, how those are connected. And then but there's other verses about Jonah that further elucidate this. And one is the Quran Surah 37, ayah 143 to 146. If he had not been one of those who glorified God, he would certainly have remained in its belly until the day of resurrection. But we cast him out, sick onto a barren shore, and we made a gourd tree grow above him to comfort him. Um, so again, I guess this is my own particular understanding would also insert that how all narrations in the Quran are physical descriptions. And so we need to learn how to apply the physical to our spiritual life. So we talked about the barren shore. What does that represent, and what does the gourd tree represent? The barren shore represents the realization that material existence lacks the power to bring anything into being on its own. By recognizing this truth, the universe becomes a sanctuary for the human spirit, a secure space where everything reflects the absolute will and mercy of the Creator. Mecca is a city like any other, but the Kaaba holds unique significance. It symbolizes the concept of Tawhid, central to the Quranic message, which asserts that nothing in this world holds creative power except God. When we grasp this understanding, the entire universe becomes a sanctuary. In and of itself can not produce anything barren, but the one who created it creates. Despite its transience, because it points to the eternity of its creator. The Kaaba, a barren building, represents the oneness of God, reinforces this truth. Through the story, we learn that while our physical existence is fleeting, our spirit's need for eternal satisfaction is met by the Creator, who alone can fulfill it. So the first point regarding this physical existence is that Jonah is saved in a barren land. There is no God but you. After we realize that not the land feeds us, but God creates and feeds us. So the gourd tree is, I'm reading just a little bit from my notes, is only God can satisfy our spiritual needs. The Kaaba is a symbol of Tawhid, is a unity in simple build, is an empty, sorry, in simple building, demonstrating that through its being empty witnesses that this universe cannot exist by itself. There is no God but you.
Barren, isn't it? Kaaba is barren as well.
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't produce any God.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Third point is the universe cannot produce anything for you but the creator of the universe. There is no God but you.
Yeah.
Only after realizing all of this, the whole universe becomes a sanctuary for us. We can be safe in our life here on earth because no cause can harm us.
Yeah. So our body cannot harm our spirit. Material side of the universe cannot harm our spirit. And also the Kaaba's stones cannot really witness against the creator's qualities manifested in the universe. So all of them becomes sanctuary for us. If only we could say La ilaha illa ente subhanak. There is no God but you, O the creator of the universe. And what the perfections I am seeing in the universe belongs to you. The gourd tree is the representative of these manifestations of the perfect qualities of the Creator. There is no need to talk about what kind of tree it was. The leaves were big or so. I don't care. I have seen it. I don't care. So what I care is what does it represent in the example, analogy, or metaphor of the Quran. Why it is talking in this way? Because human beings cannot comprehend perfectly when the idea is presented to them in an abstract form. They need to visualize it. We need to visualize it. That's why the best teaching is always performed by giving examples, simple to grasp, and keep it in mind by visualizing it. That is why Quran is full of examples, metaphors, analogies, similes, metonymies are incredible. Another metonymy of Tawhid is Kaaba. So people think that Muslims worship Kaaba, maybe they may say. And also, sanctuary means they don't have any quality, any capacity in and of themselves, anything of this universe. So you feel harm by saying you feel no harm at all. You feel secure in this sanctuary of the universe with one condition. With one condition. Acknowledge the owner of the universe. La ilaha illa ente. La ilaha illa ente. Oh, the creator of the universe. There's nothing in this world can act independently of your will, your power, your knowledge. Everything is arranged by you. Matter has none of these qualities at all. So what we learned from Yunus' story. So we don't really read the Quran as a storybook, as a history book, but we read the Quran as my guidance for my spirit. And how am I going to live in this world since the spirit is residing in my body? How can I use this body in order to serve my spirit? How can I use the body of the universe in order to serve to the needs of infinite needs of my spirit? How can I go on Hajj and visit Kaaba? Kaaba, of course, we don't go to Mecca, we go to Kaaba. So people think we are going to Mecca. Oh, airplane goes to Mecca, but my mind, my spirit goes to Kaaba. Yeah, and Kaaba representing that there's no God in this world. Serves my spirit. There's no, there's no God in this world. I experienced it. Look, I came here to find God in Kaaba. It was empty. Nobody is there. So emptiness, barrenness of the universe, as the Quran says for Jonah, he was saved on a barren land. Wow, barren land. What am I going to do? The guy is going to die. there. It's barren. Oh, it's not the earth is going to produce you. I will take care of you. I will create whatever you need in that situation to rest in this world as a guest of God's guest. I will take care of you. So it is not the house. I'm inviting you to the house, but I'm not going to let house itself serve you. It can't. I am going to serve you in this house. So that's why I took you as a guest in this house. It's my house. The universe is a house of God. Not only Kaaba is a house of God, universe is a house of God, human body is a house of God, and in this house we are, our spirit is a guest. So as far as my individual personal existence is concerned, I am in the house of my body, but body doesn't help me. The host who put me in this house is going to serve me. So I have to look for the host, how he is really serving me. Though, of course, uh, it is not used by the Muslim culture that we are servants of God. No, no. God is serving us. What we do with nothing, we just benefit from his service. What is expected of us in return? Acknowledge it. Say thank you. Don't deny. House is feeding me. Don't say, for God's sake, house is feeding me. Don't be stupid. So, no, the one who invited me as a guest is feeding me, taking care of my needs. That's what the essence of teaching of the Quran is. Acknowledge this reality, live accordingly. So house exists within the universe, of course, in a religious, ritualistic way. Uh, Kaaba represents either human body or the universe. It's the material side of the universe. And you will see that in its emptiness, you will find out the creator. Ah, the creator of the universe doesn't live within the universe. So we will go there and see exactly there is no God at all in this world. I came here to find God. Now, I will say this expression, but really, really think about it. I found God in the emptiness of Kaaba, in the powerlessness of matter, in the powerlessness of my body. So that is why we have to live in body. We are created in body. We are created in the universe. And ritualistically, as a religious ritualist, we have to go and see what Baytullah is, which is called the house of God. House of God is in the universe. Go and find it. Go and find him in the universe. And it is the house of God. What found it? Empty. That's why through the emptiness of Kaaba declares the absoluteness of the Creator. That is the significant meaning of Hajj. I am really, really admired with this. If the universe is all of the if the universe is all of the Creator's house, Why do we seek to go to Baytullah? Yeah. No. Universe is not called Baytullah. Kaaba is called Baytullah in the Quran or in Islamic teaching, Baytullah. But I mean, it's a ritual. So we go to practice in our personal life. No, we cannot visit the universe. We are in it. But we can visit Baytullah in the form of Kaaba and see and experience what people came there and see all the people, millions of people, arrived there to find God. And he says, if you want to God, if you find the God, first you have to see La ilaha. Now came here. Did you find God there? No. You see, you have to practice it in a ritualistic way, saying that, look, that's how we should do. For example, in the prayer, why do we do the physical prayer since I am aware of it? Practice it. Physically practice it. Can I physically practice the universe? Kaaba is the representative of the material side of the universe. So we have to be aware when we go there. I am going to small, how is it? Is it an English word? Not maquette. How do you say it? The companies, architecture companies, uh, make a project of a huge compound, building, or a big project. What do? They make a symbol of it and put it on the first floor.
Oh,
The
do you mean like a logo?
symbol of it,
Logo?
is it called logo?
Maybe a model?
The miniature model of it, maybe model, but made up of paper or something, or hard paper, cartoon, cartoon. No, I don't know how is it. Hard paper, I think.
A cardboard. It'd be called a model.
Cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Made up of cardboard, mostly and painted, but it is just a small model of the huge complex of buildings, maybe a university. No, maybe there are 20, 30 buildings there. It is a small size. I see that Kaaba should be seen as this model of the universe. In the universe, you cannot find God. But through the universe, you find God. And also in the Kaaba, you cannot find God. But through going and seeing the emptiness of Kaaba, you find God. That is how the journey that the Quran presents to us. La ilaha illallah. Through La ilaha, we find Allah. Through there is no God in the universe, empty. We find the creator of the universe, God. That is how I understand Hajj. Now, model. Thank you, model. Thank you, Colin. Well, so it helps. So, no cause can harm us. So, no cause can harm our spirit. Material cause may harm our body. That is why Quran speaks in an interesting way. Uh, in an interesting way. How Quran says when uh, when now it is a good example. Let's utilize this 10 minutes left, and next week we can start from the next one. This is an interesting way that the Quran speaks. Oh, oh, mhm. Ah, look at this verse. You are seeing my screen. It is important. Whenever misfortune, they say distress, misfortune. Are you familiar with the word share? Evil, actually. It means evil. Yeah, the evil. The literal meaning is evil. When uh, he is faithful, no, faithful, Jezua, filled with self-pity. Yeah, it is better. Distressed also. Human beings are distressed when evil touches them. Now, reading this verse, some scholars struggled a lot. They said, God creates evil then, because he said when evil touches them. That is not the way to read the Quran. These are old scholars, of course, and they are not, they are very precious people, but they are the very early scholars who were trying to understand the Quran. That's why they were trying to understand and make sense of the message of the Quran. As an how do you say, initiators of thinking about the Quran, how we should understand. But later on, the scholars, majority of the scholars agreed that God never ever creates share. How about this verse then? Evil, this share means it. Well, it says, whenever evil touches them, he's filled with, it's the best one, distressed, I think it's better. You know, distress, self-pity, distress. So how are we going to read this verse then? No, I think we have to take every opportunity to remind us that the Quran must be read as a teaching presented to us by the creator of the universe at our level from our perspective. Now, when something that I don't like, which God gave me the sense not to like it, something that I don't want it happens, is created, I label it as evil. Yeah, that's what I do. I don't want it. It is bad for me. That is why we run to the hospital. We call, if something happens, we call ambulance to take me to hospital immediately. I don't want to be in this position. It's very harmful for me. Evil, in my eye, it is an evil creation. Quran speaks from my perspective and says, when I create something for a particular purpose, to teach you, to help you perform your purpose of existence, I create something that you don't like. And from your perspective, it is evil. And you become distressed and don't like it, reject it. And then teaches, of course, that is, we are not going to study the sequence of the verses now. And God says, hey, everything is created by me on a purpose to educate you. So, from my creation perspective, it is pure good. From your worldly life is concerned, it is evil. You will label it as evil. You will label it as evil. I am going to teach you that I am the one who created you with my mercy, with my wisdom, to educate you who you are. A needy one cannot guarantee anything in this world. I am trying to teach you who your reality is, what your reality is, so that you will know who your creator is. So when I see that Kaaba is empty, when I see that the universe has no God in itself, the universe has no quality to be the source of existence of itself. Since it doesn't create itself, since Kaaba is empty, why did you create the universe? Why do you ask me to go and physically experience that really there is no God in Baytullah, the house of God? In the house of God, there is no God. Why do you do that? La ilaha. Experience it. Experience it in the world, in the universe. Experience it in the existence of every being. Experience it in the existence of your own body. Your body cannot function by itself. This is just dumb matter. And go and see Kaaba, although it is called the house of God, go and see there is no God there. Practice it. Everybody is looking for God. Coming there, oh, there is no God. Surprise. And say that, oh, the creator of Kaaba. It means the owner of Kaaba. You ask me to come here so that I'll find you, that you don't reside within the universe. You don't reside within the universe. Yeah, you will don't you are demonstrating your qualities there. So, for example, I may see that I went from my country, wherever you live, so long, especially in olden days. Now airplanes are making it easy. So long, you go there and I found nothing. It looks like evil. No, through this action, you will realize that there is no point in the universe that you can attribute your existence to. It's a beautiful experience. Anyways, all right. Thank you for the very interesting session. Have to go. All right. Thank you very much. I think our friend left with a message. All right. Did we understand how we should read the Quran? Not literally at all. When, for example, it says, whenever misfortune, this one says, whenever misfortune touches him, he is filled with self-pity. Misfortune, they don't use the word evil, because although they literally it means evil, because they know that in the teaching of the Quran, there is no evil. They are very well aware of. That is why, in order to avoid the misunderstanding, they replace it with other words. But if I was there, I would translate it. I would say, evil given not. That is how Quran speaks. Be careful. You have to take from your perspective. You see it as evil. Or put in bracket, whenever what you see it from your perspective as evil touches you, you will be filled with self-pity or distressed. Inshallah, this kind of reading we should develop for ourselves as principles, and then read the Quran accordingly. It becomes amazing, but needs training. I'm sorry, we couldn't start this second story, the story of Job. Inshallah, next week we will do it. But this introduction, I am finding it extremely important when I see that the Islamic literature generally, and also the way the people present Islam to the public, to human beings in general, most of the time, not all the time, no, most of the time, miss this kind of points, and I would like to share them with you. All right. Any last message from anyone? No, I think the time is up. Everybody says time is up. Now we have to stop. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا إن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة.